India have predictably won the test series against West Indies 2-0, although they were stressed a bit more than they would have liked to in the second test. So West Indies did put up a decent fight in their second innings, but the ending seemed almost inevitable, Ayaz. So what, according to you, are the main takeaways for both teams?
I think, speaking for India, I would think the batting of Sai Sudarshan, he seems to have found or created a niche for himself. Now, remember, Karun Nair was, not in the squad after the England tour. In a sense, it was a toss-up between him and Sai Sudarshan. And Sai Sudarshan has made the most of the opportunities now. He should have got 100 in this match, in the second Test match. He didn't get it, but nevertheless, I think that he's done enough to suggest that he is one for the long run. From the bowling point of view, I thought Siraj was magnificent again in this series. He just got that hunger for taking wickets. So he's no longer a foil for Jasprit Bumrah, who was perhaps a shade below his best, and that's only because we expect so much from Bumrah. But Siraj wasn't the foil. Siraj was almost like the spearhead. The emphasis was, of course, on spin because Kuldeep Yadav, Ravindra Jadeja, also Washington Sundar to some extent. Pitches in India are generally made for these kind of bowlers. I thought Kuldeep Yadav reaffirmed his stature as a wicket taker, certainly on Indian soil. He's not often got the nod ahead of Ashwin and Jadeja in the past, but here he's emerging as the frontline spin bowler also. Jadeja doing what he does best, great all-round performance. So these are some of the highlights. Apart from Yashasvijaiswal, I shouldn't forget him, and Shubmangill, both making hundreds. I think Yashasvi 175 was a very important knock for them because in England, barring the century in the first test, he was getting these starts, not going on to make a big score. He got a big score. And then Dhruv Jurel, who I think is just getting bigger as a player and better as a batsman as time wears on. So that's from the Indian point of view. I thought Gill marshaled his resources well. Looked a little lost when the West Indies staged a fight back in the second innings of the second test. But, I don't think anybody doubted that the result would be what it is. In that sense, he tried out all, and remember, it became an absolute flat track. So I won't put too much store by that. I think that his first series win as captain will be something that he will cherish forever. But also a lot of things that he will have learned of captaincy, team management, player management, in tough situations when you're not getting easy success, what is to be done. All these would have helped him. Where the West Indies are concerned, I think all their accolades are restricted to the second test match, where their batting at least came good. With Shea Hope and John Campbell hitting centuries, the last pair putting on 79 runs, making India strive hard for success. But that is something to take back home. But overall, there is obviously, it's not so much despair as there is dismay about where West Indies cricket finds itself now after decades of such fantastic performances by, I don't even want to list the names of players here because we all know what that list holds. So yes, predictably India won. West Indies will take some solace from the way they fought back, but not too much. I think they have a lot of hard work ahead.
Yeah, and we don't see a lot of captains enforcing the follow-on these days, but Gill did. Do you think it was purely just to see whether his bowlers had it in them to bowl on the trot 2 innings on the go, given that situation might pop up in the WTC cycle coming along?
Possibly. I thought they must have talked to themselves in the dressing room and said, hey, this is one way to finish this match off early. Because the West Indies were struggling to post 150 in the 3 earlier innings. So, nobody thought they'll make 300 plus at that point in time. That they went on to do it is fantastic for them. And at least created, they made a fight of the match, which was important for them and for us to see. But, yes, generally follow-ons have become rare in cricket because you want to, put the opposition on the last day on a wearing track with a burden of a major score to overhaul or defend or try and play out time. But that was not so much the concern against West Indies, in my opinion, because I think that the idea also to choose to bat first was to run up a big score and try and win by an innings, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen, but that's a different story.
Yeah, and also talking about the pitches now, we've seen a lot of rank turners in the past few years in India, but as you saw in this test match, it's mostly flat, but did help spin. But do you think this is the way going forward for India, or do you think because this was a relatively weaker team is why India made the decision and they could go back to maybe the rank turners for more formidable opponents?
I think so. I think that they'll probably revise tactics against teams like South Africa, New Zealand, some of the stronger teams as you mentioned. West Indies not exactly renowned for their batting heft now. So, and as I mentioned, the first three innings that they played didn't seem to suggest that they had the sinew, the muscle at all. But when it comes to other teams, you might not want to, be so kind of considerate in terms of preparing the pitches. Remember, however, and there is a caveat here. Remember that against New Zealand in 2023, India prepared turners and it boomeranged. So you have to be cautious about these things against opponents who have a better batting lineup. Also, some bowlers who can, extract as much from the pitch as your own bowlers can do. That can come back to bite you. So we'll have to wait and see how the selectors and the administration and the team management looks at opponents going ahead.
Yeah, and looking ahead, India go down to Australia for two white ball series. Now, the main draw of the ODI series being the return of Kohli and Rohit Sharma. So, given all the conversation about the 2027 World Cup and their place in the side, do you think they'll tend to play it a bit safe to prolong their time with the team?
I think, that's why they're in the team. If they want, otherwise they would have retired. They want to play the World Cup. That much is quite plain. But it's one thing to say I want to play in the World Cup. The other is to be able to survive or last 2 years in terms of fitness, form. And remember, the greatest threat to both these players is from the pressure from younger players who are, huge in number and extremely talented. So I think that, there is a challenge ahead for both of them. They are champion batsmen, as we know. But these long gaps, 6 month, 7 month gaps can take its toll, of your concentration. You may not be in the right frame of mind. So this series becomes very important. I would think that they would play or they should play all the matches or be agreeable to playing all the matches if necessary, because the more you play, the more opportunities you get to prove to your team, your captain, your coach, that, and the rest of the world that you still belong at this level.
Yeah, and also, lastly, we do have the T20I series where this formidable Indian team will be tested against the mighty Australians. Now, this Indian team went undefeated throughout the Asia Cup, although they did have their moments, their hiccups throughout the tournament. So, what are you expecting against the Aussies?
I think this will be a real good, contest for the Indian team. Indian team is fantastic. We've seen that even in the Asia Cup. Before that against England, some of the other matches that they played, they've been really good. But playing in Australia is a different kind of a challenge. And the Aussies are also very fiercely competitive. So it's a good series to showcase in terms of temperament and talent where this Indian team stands, because we know how well they played in India at home, certainly, and how they will fare overseas is something that we have to still wait and see. Apart from, of course, Dubai. So yeah, I think it's a great series. And remember, it's a lot of how these players perform. Sanju, Samson or Abhishek Sharma or some of these guys who are also aspiring to be part of the ODI team. Very important for them. Not to forget that T20 World Cup is all where their sights are set, and none of them wants to keep their position in the team kind of wobbly.
Yeah, so as I said, that series starts on Sunday and we'll come back to you after the first match. So that's been this episode's Sports Room. We'll see you next time.